You've almost certainly heard of Stephen Covey's 7 Habits. It's one of those books that's just everywhere. But beyond the lists and the habits themselves, there's a single powerful idea that holds the whole thing together. And in this explainer, we're going to dig deep into that foundational concept. Let's get into it.
You know that feeling, right? Where you're putting in all this effort, you're trying to stay positive, but the real, lasting change you're looking for, it just never seems to stick. Well, you are definitely not alone.
I mean, maybe this one sounds a little too familiar. It's that classic, frustrating cycle. You make a promise to yourself, you get all fired up, and then a few weeks later, you find yourself right back where you started. Or maybe it runs even deeper, in our most important relationships, that feeling where the connection has just kind of faded. And no matter what you try, you just can't seem to get that original spark back. And wow, this one hits hard for so many of us. This feeling of being constantly on the go, always in motion, but still wondering if any of it actually matters. It's a special kind of exhaustion that goes way beyond just being tired.
So here's the big reveal from Covey. These painful problems, they aren't signs that you're failing or that you lack willpower. They're symptoms, and if you only ever treat the symptoms, you will never ever solve the real problem underneath. Okay, so this brings us right to what Covey calls the quick fix trap, and it's the reason why our usual approach to self-improvement just falls flat so often.
Think about it. For decades, the self-help world has been selling us on this idea that if we just learn the right social tricks or keep a positive mental attitude, everything will be fine. Covey calls this the personality ethic. And this analogy just nails it, doesn't it? Cramming for a test might get you that passing grade, but did you actually learn anything? Nope. You found a shortcut, not a solution. You didn't actually get an education. So Covey lays out this fundamental choice we all have between two completely different approaches to life: the character ethic versus the personality ethic. And when you see them side by side like this, the difference is just crystal clear. The character ethic is all about who you are at your core, your integrity, your humility, your connection to basic principles. The personality ethic, that's all about how you look, your public image, your flashy techniques, your attitude. One is all about depth, and the other is all about the surface. And here we go. This is the central metaphor of this entire explainer. When we have a problem, our first instinct is to start hacking away at the leaves, our attitudes, our behaviors. But the real fruit of a truly effective life, that grows from the root, and the root is our character. So, to get to that root, we first have to understand the single most powerful force in our lives, our paradigms. This, Covey argues, is where the real work of change actually begins. So what in the world is a paradigm? Well, Covey describes it as our mental map. It's not reality itself, it's our perception of reality. And this is so important. That map is the source of every single one of our attitudes and actions. This is such a crucial point. We think we're being totally objective, but we're not. We're seeing the world through a lens that was created by our family, our experiences, our culture. We've been conditioned to see things in a very specific way. And here's the real kicker. If your fundamental map of reality is wrong, say you have a map of New York, but you're actually in Chicago, it doesn't matter how hard you work or how positive your attitude is, all that effort is just going to get you to the wrong destination faster. Now, nothing illustrates the power of a shifting paradigm better than a personal story Covey shares. It's a true aha moment. So, just picture this. You're on a subway car. It's a calm, peaceful Sunday morning. People are reading, just relaxing. Then, a man gets on with his children, and they are loud, they are rambunctious, they're disturbing everyone. And the father, he just sits there with his eyes closed, totally oblivious. You can feel Covey's irritation just building and building. How could this guy be so insensitive? Finally, he just can't take it anymore. Trying his best to stay calm, he leans over and says this. He's judging the man's behavior entirely based on his current map, his current paradigm of the situation. And then, in a single, quiet sentence, the man's response changes the entire world. He says he just doesn't know what to think. And he guesses his kids don't know how to handle it either. In that one instant, Covey's paradigm completely shifted. The map was redrawn. His irritation didn't just lessen, it vanished.
It was replaced by a wave of compassion. He didn't have to try to behave differently. The change was automatic because his perception, his paradigm, had fundamentally changed. And that story, right there, perfectly captures the solution that Covey proposes. He calls it the inside-out approach.
He uses this other amazing analogy: you can't cram on a farm. I love that. You can't just cheat the process. Real growth has to follow natural laws. You have to prepare the soil of your character first, then plant seeds of principle, and then nurture them with consistent effort. And only then can you ever hope to reap the harvest of true effectiveness.
And this brings us right back to the core idea. Are we spending our lives just hacking at the leaves, constantly dealing with the frustrating symptoms? Or are we willing to do the deeper, harder work of striking at the root, our fundamental paradigms and our character? According to Covey, that choice makes all the difference in the world.